Hi, welcome to the bathtub. This is the old masturbator, Scott Bradfield, and that is done up here. And that's the old masturbator's parakeet, and she masturbates as well. She has a little yellow bathtub that she masturbates in, and we're doing what is now a new no tech, no whiteboard, pure unpixelated pleasure like we get out of bathtubs when we read our books. So we've canceled all our high tech, the wondrousness of the old phony show now. And we're just talking. This one is a kind of hodgepodge, which is like a kind of newish. It's kind of a newish theme show, which is basically like all the other theme shows put together. Which is basically just a few books I read in the past few weeks that kind of I couldn't fit into any of. I didn't want to talk about them individually because they wouldn't cover very much, but they were just kind of interesting little books I read. And two of them were kind of extending. We did something about Northern Ireland SF, and I don't know. I got myself reading. Two Northern Belfast, I think Belfast writers, but Northern Ireland. James White, who we talked about, and another one, Bob Shaw. I mean, I think our buddy Andy McKinney out in Belfast got us started on this. But these are writers. I read a lot of Bob Shaw when I was a kid, when I was 14 or 15. And I never read. I don't think I've read any science fiction since I was 18. I don't know any writers since I was turned 18 or 19. But all the stuff I read when I was a kid, as some of us know, we kind of enjoy going back to read. And I read one of his sort of late early books, The Palace of Eternity, which was in this great cool series. I mean, this is one of the things that really got me into paperback science fiction when I was a kid, was the great the Ace specials, Ace Science Fiction specials, edited by Terry Carr. And they had these incredible Leo and Diane Dillon covers. And even when I didn't get the book, they had a really good list, and they looked beautiful. This was published in 1969. And this James White, who I never read. I never read him when I was a kid. I remember thinking it looked kind of corny. It was because he did a lot of books in this thing called Hospital Station. It's a sector general. I think it was a sector general. He wrote lots of stories and novels set in this outer space hospital for all the alien life forms of the universe, which are quite abundant in James White's imagination. And they look kind of phony. It's like a series. And I tried one not long ago. I just started getting into him, and I think he's actually really quite good. I actually like him a little better than Bob Shaw now. And his ideas about all these alien life forms, he has just the beginning of this one. He has one that's kind of like a huge, kind of almost godlike creature that can't die in a certain way. It has certain godlike powers, and it has its own doctor, which is a virus which resides in its body. And it's about this kind of human doctor who goes from all these different levels in this gigantic space station, which has methane breathing sections and underwater sections, and they have octopuses wearing astronaut outfits and stuff, lumbering along, and he's training nurses from all these different species. And it's a really lot of fun. I really recommend, if you like kind of old 60s, 50s and 60s SF. This is like the second book in the series. We talked about the first one, which I think was called Hospital Station. It says on the back, Hospital Station. And this one was published, mainly they were short stories, long, 1963. And this series of stories kind of leads into a kind of war, a kind of intergalactic war. And I think the doctor has to take care of the aliens as well. I can't remember. There's so many different weird alien people. Anyway, I like James White. I also like Bob Shaw. Bob Shaw was a kind of interesting. He wrote kind of they look kind of like technically efficient novels, but they're actually very kind of metaphysical. And this is definitely a metaphysical novel, and it's about an alien conflict between human beings and another alien species, and it's quite imaginative. It kind of goes so far off. I remember as a kid, the reviews on this was like about halfway through the book, it kind of goes somewhere you never expected it to go. And this time I read it, and I remember feeling that way too. This time I read it, and I thought, well, it kind of had to go where it was going. It was kind of an interesting setup, because he sets up this idea that there's intergalactic ships that could do all these sort of things, and the technology of these ships are actually destroying kind of invisible life forms. You've seen the idea used probably lots of times since then. But it's a good book. I enjoyed it. I didn't quite enjoy it as much as Star Surgeon or other Bob Shaw novels. But it was kind of nice in the bathtub on kind of, especially kind of depressing days reading the newspaper. Finally, we talked a bit about Jack Kirby. I'm a Jack Kirby fan. I read all these when they came out. We had several people when I talked about The Demon a few weeks ago. And they were saying, they loved KAMANDI, which was the only Jack Kirby series at DC, which was fairly successful. It went on for about 40 issues until Kirby went back to Marvel. And it's basically a rip-off of the Planet of the Apes. So it's some future after some apocalypse where there's gorillas societies, and there's tigers, and there's lions, and there's every animal, snakes. They all become kind of human-like. And all the human beings have become treated like animals, except for a kind of weird, I forget the name of the group of these people. It's like a spaceship. It's a bunch of superhuman people who suffer in it. Anyway, it's really fun, relaxing, stupid book. I enjoyed reading it. I still prefer The Fourth World of Jack Kirby for just complete waste of time. But this was enjoyable too, and it gets your mind off. That's the whole purpose of the bathtub, is just to read stuff that's not good for you, and it's not bad for you, like a lot of things in the world. Anyway, that's all I got to say for him this week. This is this Hodgepodge. We talked about Jack Kirby. We'll probably read some more of him, and the Northern Ireland SF scene, which was kind of built by Bob Shaw and James White. I'm sure there's lots of good ones that have come along since then. Cheers. This is our pure spring mountain ice water. Non-tech all the way. Stay safe.